And we are out there, and welcome everyone to another great edition tonight. Jonathan Reed joining us, infamous for his encounter with an extraterrestrial that he ended up taking home and putting in the freezer.
You know, I've really been looking forward to this program. Yeah. We have been given some video footage. Now, Jonathan couldn't, let's...
we'll let him tell the story.
We'll let him tell the story.
We have a video.
He couldn't get this video done in the United States, so he had to go to Mexico to have it done.
It's fantastic.
And wait till you see some of the footage that we've got coming up this evening. Really breathtaking.
My life in the past, before this encounter, was tranquil. I had everything that I could have hoped to achieve in my life. I had a good job. I had graduated from a good university. I had a good home. I had reached a point of status in my life that I was very, very comfortable. When my encounter happened, when this exactly happened, my life changed completely.
Dr. Jonathan Reed was a child psychologist who, back in 1996, had an incredible encounter with an extraterrestrial. Tonight, he joins us by phone from an undisclosed location to share his story. Welcome, Dr. Reed.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Richard, for having me. I'm very excited about this.
Hi, Jonathan. This is one of the few interviews that we've had over the last 3 years where we don't know where our guest is.
Well, I can tell you I'm in Canada.
Okay.
Okay.
I live both half the time in Mexico and half the time in Canada.
Why do you have to live in Mexico or Canada, Dr. Reed?
Well, it's a choice. Since the encounter happened in 1996, as you know, my life has changed a great deal. And I've chosen to take this to where people accept this, not to where they attack me, my family, and my friends.
You've had much, I'm sorry, Richard, you've had much better success even getting it out to the public. In like, for example, your video, the one that we just showed a clip, had to be done in Mexico.
Exactly. Many cultures accept this very, very differently than the United States.
Yeah.
And there is what I believe, in my opinion, a clandestine operation to keep this away from the public, to keep the truth away.
What year did this happen to you, Jonathan?
It was October 15th, 1996.
All right, let's go to the beginning before we show any video footage. And for the viewers that we have who haven't got a clue of what happened to you, maybe you can go back to that day and tell us what happened up in the Cascade Mountains.
Very good. Like I said, it was 1996, a beautiful middle to late October day. I went for a hike in the woods, a walk with my dog, Susie. She was a 7-year-old golden retriever who was like a member of my family. And we had done this many times before, you know, where you take the dog out and run independently in the woods. Now, this wasn't a park. This is up by Snoqualmie Pass, which is at about 5,000 feet elevation, about 60 miles from Seattle. And what I had done is got out of my Jeep and literally went for a walk. And about an hour into the walk, my dog took off running, barking, maybe chasing a squirrel or a deer. That's not unusual. But this time, the barking sound changed. It became very aggressive, very angry. And when you have an animal that you've been around for several years, you learn to understand the different tonalities of their bark. Well, she was definitely after something, and then again it changed to the point where she was being pursued, I thought, by either a bear or a wildcat, which is native to this part of the country. So I was concerned. So as I ran up to where I had lost sight of her, but I could still hear the barking, I decided I would take off my day pack, pick up a large branch that was laying on the ground like a very long baseball bat in case I had to untangle her with a raccoon or a wildcat. And as I pursued where she was, trying to locate her exact position by the barking, I came over this rise and was face to face with my dog connected to what looked like at that moment a small creature or even a childlike being, but it was very dark. The overhead trees provided not much sunlight, so I could see this silhouette of this thing. But at the moment that I encountered this, it was throwing my dog back and forth over its head. Now, Now, my dog weighed almost 100 pounds. I don't know that I could do this as rapidly as what I was experiencing. And within a moment, now all this happened within like 15 to 20 seconds of my coming on this scene, all of a sudden this thing was tearing my dog apart, killing my dog in front of me. And what I mean is tearing her at the throat apart where there was blood and sinew exposed, and then all of a sudden it turned and looked at me with this incredibly evil look, and I figured, I'm next. I jumped forward maybe 3 feet, hit this thing as hard as I could with this branch, like a baseball bat, dropping it to the ground, assuming that I had killed it.
Okay, we're going to get to a piece of video footage right now that will take us through the next step of this. This is now after you've struck the creature and it's fallen to the ground. Your dog is now dead, and you later on took some video footage of the area showing the obelisk and some of the forest. Can we run that now?
Yes.
Okay, let's hear this. And folks, I caution you, if you have young children watching the TV, this is pretty graphic footage, and it may not be for the weak of heart. Okay, let's see the videotape.
Focus. Focus.
This creature, this body that lay on the ground bleeding in front of me, from the wound that I inflicted, only the remains of my dog, this white powder, this white ash at the feet of this creature, and this floating black object that I call the obelisk, floating in the air, not touching the ground. I photographed all of this with the video camera and with a still camera, hoping that something would be recorded, hoping somehow to record this moment and regain my sanity.
Wow. There's the obelisk. Now, Jonathan, as we were watching that, it looks like at times the video itself is pretty poor quality. Obviously, you're upset. You're running with this. You sound like you're out of breath. Perhaps you even became ill there at one point. But was there something that would make the video quality itself so sketchy?
Yes, definitely. The video camera that I was using was a very old model of a Nikon video camera. And I was instantly sick. Once I hit this creature, I fell to the ground and basically couldn't even stand up for over an hour. And I was violently sick. I mean, almost like my body had been poisoned. I couldn't control my bowels. I was throwing up. I couldn't breathe correctly. I was a mess. I felt like I was having a massive heart attack. And again, I'm up in the middle of nowhere in the woods with no one around. At that time, I spent some time trying to regain some composure, trying to be able to understand what was going on. But again, nothing from that moment on felt real to me. It felt distorted, out of my realm of my reality, which I had learned, all my life.
Jonathan, you also said in the video clip something about a white powder that was your dog. We missed what happened there.
When I saw my dog being torn apart, before her body hit the ground, it literally dissolved into almost like a white ash or a powder. Incredible, unbelievable. And like I said, after spending an hour and a half being sick, I regained some strength, got up, and said, I've got to try to record this. And what happened